Perfect.
Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him,
You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take yourself a...
Wait. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him, and said to him, what do you mean charged him? Like, told him something? What is this? 28? Time out. We're not supposed to be reading 28. We read 28. Right? Let's see. Jacob's vow to Bethel. And said, You will come back to my father's house in peace. Then the Lord shall be my God. We read 28, didn't we?
put at his head, set it up as a pillar.
Set it up as a pillar. Jacob's vow to Bethel. We read 28. All right, let's jump to 29. Let's change this real quick. All right, there we go. 29. Let's go.
So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it, for out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. And Jacob said to them,
My brethren, where are you from?
We are from Haran.
Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?
We know him.
Is he well?
He is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep.
Look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered
But he's gone
together.
off to find his wife. That's the journey he's on.
Water the sheep and go and feed them.
We cannot until all the flocks are gathered together, and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep.
Now while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her.
I'm trying to see if there's any symbolism here. We cannot, just because of the rolling of the stone, we cannot until all the flocks are gathered together. They have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Right? Jesus is the living water, and they're rolling the stone away, and then they can water the sheep, as in spread the gospel to the land, forming the church. Right? Right? Why do you not feed them? Why do you not feed the flock? Why do you not feed the people? I mean, they ministered way before. There was no weight on the ministering. God didn't wait for him to die in order for there to be a ministry. So I guess there's not really any solid symbolism there, but
The daughter of Laban, his mother's brother.
I tried.
And the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice and wept.
What?
And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative, and that he was Rebekah's.
You just walk up to her and kiss her like that? Dang. Oh, you know why? Because you guys are relatives, so you're destined to be married.
Son.
I forgot the
So
Abraham
she ran
family
and
tradition.
told her father. Then it came to pass, when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him and kissed him, and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him,
Surely
You are my bone and my flesh.
Yeah.
And he stayed with him for a month. Then Laban said to Jacob,
Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?
Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said,
I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter.
It is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me.
So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him.
Do we know how old Rachel was? I'm just curious. What is this? 29 verse, that was 18, I'm assuming. 29. No, it doesn't say. Dang it. I wanted to know.
Because of the love he had for her.
I don't trust these
And
people,
Jacob
man.
said to Laban,
Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her.
And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban,
They
What
wear
is
the
this you have
veil. They wear the veil throughout the entire ceremony and the wedding, the night, because I'm assuming so. Because how else would he not know, right? Yeah, I'm assuming so. Because how else would he not know?
Done to me. Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why then have you deceived me?
But I mean, if the marriage ceremony is complete, why still have the veil over yourself after the marriage is complete? So I don't know. I don't know how that works. Was he drunk that he didn't know? He couldn't tell? Was it just that dark you couldn't see?
It must not be done so in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn.
Yeah, we better
Fulfill
tell people
her
before
week,
that, yeah?
And we will give you this one also for the service which you will serve with me still another 7 years.
Then Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week. So he gave him his daughter Rachel as wife.
What do you mean
also.
fulfill her week? And we will give you this one also for the service which you will serve with me for another 7 years. What do you mean fulfill her week? And it doesn't explain it. I want to look that up. Fulfill her week. Fulfill her week. Fulfill, to fill. Okay, this is just breaking down the words. We need the entire phrase. Nope. Meaning and commentary on the verse. Fulfill her week, not Rachel's week or a week of years of servitude for her, but Leah's week, or the week of 7 days of feasting for her marriage. For a marriage feast used to be kept 7 days according to the Jewish writers. And as it seems from Judges 14:17 and the Targum of the Jerusalem fully expresses the sense, fulfill the week of the days of the feast of Leah. Okay, that makes sense. By the way, how's the audio, like my voice? I got a new windscreen for the mic. Yeah, we'll see how it sounds.
And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went in to Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah. And he served with Laban still another 7 years.
I mean, I can't really blame him because that's the girl he was after. Hey, we have a viewer. How you doing?
When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb. But Rachel was barren. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said,
Reuben.
The Lord has surely looked on my affliction. Now, therefore, my husband will love me.
Then she conceived again and bore a son.
Because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also.
And she called his name Simeon.
Simeon.
She conceived again and bore a son.
Now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons.
Therefore his name was called Levi. And she conceived again and bore a son.
Now
And Levi went on to create the world's most popular brand of jeans.
I will praise the Lord.
Therefore she called his name Judah. Then she stopped bearing.
By choice or 29, 30.
Now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob,
Give me children, or else I die.
And Jacob's anger was aroused against Rachel.
Am I
You
in
gonna
the
kill
place
yourself?
of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?
Here's
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine your wife saying, give me children to your husband, or else I'm going to kill myself. I'm assuming that's what she means by, or else I die. And she's being serious. That's a lot. That's whoa. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like,
my maid,
it's
Bill.
a stressful time. Because you know it's been building for
Go
years.
into her, and she will bear a child.
All right. We're doing Abraham and Sarah all over again. What is it now? We have the Jews, and then that with Ishmael, and then we got the Muslims, right? So, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get now. Come on, man. Jacob, I mean, hopefully your dad probably told you some stories about how this is not a good idea. I mean, why do you want to go into her? Why do you want him to go into your maid? He has a wife already, Leah, that he went into and has children. So what's the difference? You just want to know, like, oh, this is my maid. So, in surrogate wise, they're my children for you because it's from my maid, right? I guess a way for her to give something to her husband in that way so she feels better.
On my knees, that I also may have children by her.
Then she gave him Bilhah, her maid, as wife, and Jacob went into her. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son.
Man, all these guys, they're not saying no. They get... Wow.
Then Rachel said,
God has judged my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son.
No, he hasn't.
Therefore she called his name Dan. And Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said,
With great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed.
So she called his name
So
Naphtali.
Rachel's pretty happy about this.
When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah her maid and gave her to Jacob as wife. And Leah's maid Zilpah...
Yo! This is kind of, This is kind of not right. I mean, if polygamy is fine back then and it's okay, man, Jacob is getting. I mean, good for Jacob, I guess. But the wives feeling that they need to compete with each other in the number of children. I mean, I guess you want to have more descendants because the more descendants, it strengthens the family unit, and they're going to intermarry. Looking at these guys, and make the family bigger. Man, I guess, but man, this is not a good situation in my opinion. I mean, because it's just all coming out of, it's all stemming from jealousy, all these relations, or wanting to prove oneself, right? I don't like that.
Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said,
A troop comes.
so she called his name Gad. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son.
I am happy, for the daughters
When
will
is
call
enough?
me
Okay, when
blessed.
is enough?
So she called his name Asher. Now Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother
Mandrake
Leah.
the magician.
Then Rachel said to Leah,
Please, give me some of your son's mandrakes.
Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?
Therefore, he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes.
when Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah
Man, Leah's still holding on to that for how many years probably now.
went out to meet him.
You must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes.
And he lay with her that night.
Oh, man. Yeah, I told you this is not a good situation. They're literally fighting for approval from their husband.
And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son.
God has given me my wages, because I have given my maid to my husband.
So she called his name Issachar. Then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son.
Okay, so God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son, right? Leah said, God has given me my wages. Her wages are the fifth son. So she is thinking, and because I have given my maid to my husband. So she is thinking that giving her maid to her husband was a good thing. And God blessed her for doing that and gave her wages, which is the fifth son, right? That is complete contrast to what happened with Sarah and Abraham. Sarah gave Hagar to Abraham and bore Ishmael, and then by the time Sarah bore Isaac, Sarah became jealous, and God, that was not a good situation, right? Because God had promised a son to Sarah after the fact, and that was to be Isaac. But here, Leah is taking it as a good thing that she gave her maid to her husband. So it seems like they're so focused on finding approval from Jacob that they're just, I don't know, trying to justify every little thing.
God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons.
That's so
So
sad.
she called his name Zebulun. Afterward, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son.
God has taken away my reproach.
So she called his name Joseph.
The Lord shall add to me another son.
And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban,
Wait. Who is Rachel's first son? Right? So she is called the name Joseph. Lord shall add to me. Oh, so she called his name Joseph and said, "The Lord shall add to me another son." Okay. never
Lord
mind.
shall add to me another.
Send me away, that I may go to my own place and to my country.
And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away that."
Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you know my service, which I have done for you.
Please, stay, if I have found favor in your eyes. For I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake. Name me your wages, and I will give it.
You know how I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming. And now, when shall I also provide for my own house?
What shall I give you?
You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats.
I feel like that would be the
these shall
majority.
my wages. So my
Honestly, I feel like
righteousness
that
will
would be the
answer for me in
majority
time to
of-
come when the subject of my wages comes before you. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the lambs, will be considered stolen if it is with me.
Oh, that it were according to your word.
So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hand of his sons.
Well, maybe
Then
not
he
the
put
lambs,
3
the brown
days'
ones, the
journey
lambs.
between himself and Jacob, and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar, and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs, and made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods.
What are the
But
rods?
when the flocks were feeble, he did
Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar, and of the almond and chestnut trees, and peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So those rods are like an aphrodisiac? Let me see. What is this? 37? The rods of green poplar. Jacob placed sticks of various colors in the watering troughs to symbolize his belief that God would bless him with more speckled and spotted lambs. Indeed, God blessed Jacob as he had promised. Jacob added all the speckled and spotted lambs to his herd. With the symbolic multicolored rods, Jacob asked God to bless him with speckled and spotted animals from the stronger livestock in Laban's herd. Indeed, God promised to do just that in a dream. Okay, we didn't get there yet. Okay, so it was just symbolic. I guess.
not put them in.
So, where, let's go back a little bit.
According to your word.
According to your word, where are we?
So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it. 3 days' journey between himself, dips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods.
That's weird, right? Don't you guys think that's weird? Now Jacob took
And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink.
He's putting them there so they should conceive. So these rods are causing them to conceive. Is it an aphrodisiac? These, the green poplar, and he took for himself rods of green poplar and of almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. What are these rods? Let's look it up. I'm curious. All right. All right, so Jacob claimed all the mixed animal-looking animals, right? Jacob takes sticks fresh from 3 specific kinds of trees, strips the bark to reveal the white underneath. This is, in part, a play on words. The Hebrew term for white is Laban. With God's supernatural blessing, Jacob will use these sticks to influence how many striped, spotted, and speckled animals are born. Where does it say that? And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived... Wait, let's look. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streaked and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flock by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous and had large flocks, male, female, and male servants, camels, and donkeys. I don't get it. I do not understand. It's not just symbolism. How did the rods Jacob peeled make the animals produce offspring of a certain color? Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree. Here comes Jacob tampered with nature, but whether this caused him any prosperity is not certain, because Genesis 31, 4-13 indicates that God was helping him. Laban had deceived him by changing his wages 10 times, but God saw to it that Jacob received his just compensation. Literally, peeled a peeling means he made white stripes in the rods by laying the white wood bare. A conceived Hebrew, yacham, be in heat, when translated conceived, it is only used for animals, except in Psalms 51, okay, blah, blah. All right, that's not answering my question. This is not answering my question. The fungi of the bark of the 3 known trees, Genesis 30:37, can provide chemicals to produce amino acids to alter the color of wool without having any direct effect on the DNA. When Jacob peeled and stripped the bark from these branches, it exposed the filaments of fungi that contained these amino acids. The chemicals then leached into the water, so the flocks drank this water and then mated according to the agouti gene to change the color of the wool. Interesting. Maybe. I don't know. Jacob's odd breeding program. I mean, I guess it's not that important for me to spend this much time on it. Let's keep going. If you guys are interested, let me know, and we could check it out further.
So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs, and made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, female and male.
So it's not just
servants,
controlling the color, it's controlling the strength. And it came to pass when the stronger livestock conceived that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. Was he trying to condition them? But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So they did not mate. So the feebler were Laban's. Yo! So the feebler were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous. Okay, hold up. If that was true with the changing of the colors, right? That we saw, the rods bled into the water and the animals drank, right? Then he's cheating Laban. That makes sense with this. So the flocks conceived before the rods, right? Let me read this whole part again. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar and of the almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, right? So they're colored, and he peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. Okay. The rods which he had peeled he set before the flocks in gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So that they should conceive when they came to drink. So putting them in there in the water means that they will conceive when they came to drink. I don't understand. Or he wants those that came to the water to conceive. This is making it seem like it's causing them to conceive. So the flocks conceived before the rods. See? It sounds like the rods are making them conceive. And the flocks brought forth streaked and speckled spots, and streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the which one did he put? A streaked. Okay, all the streaked. Okay. Then Jacob separated the lambs, right? And made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks face toward the streaked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. Okay, so it's all still Laban's right now. And it came, okay, to a flock, where am I? Flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks, he did separate, by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. Right? Because he did not want his to mate with Laban's. Right? And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were in... So they don't even have to have offspring. As he's drinking, it's dyeing their skin. So he's just taking the strong ones like that. Okay, look, strong one come drinking. All right, we're going to change your color to have spots. So now it's on my side.
Camels and donkeys.
Because it doesn't seem like some symbolism type of thing. It seems like those rods were causing something, you know? So it seems like Jacob literally cheated Laban.
Now Jacob heard the...
And it sort of made sense because, I mean, it's like tit for tat. Not makes sense. It's tit for tat because of what Laban did to him.
Words of Laban's sons.
Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has acquired all this wealth.
And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and indeed it was not favorable toward him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob,
Return to the land of your fathers and to your family. And
God, do you know that Jacob just cheated Laban?
So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field, to his flock.
I see your father's countenance, that it is not favorable toward me as before, but the God of my father has been with me. And you know that with all my might I have served your father, yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. And if he said thus, the streaked shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it happened at the time when the flocks conceived that I lifted my eyes.
Like that would only what we were saying is that'll only be true if those rods actually made the flock speckled and striped, right? According to that whole the amino acid, whatever that the guy was talking about. I'll put that link in the description for you guys to check out.
Saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and gray-spotted. Then the angel of God spoke to me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift your eyes now and see, all the rams which leap on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and gray-spotted, for I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you made a vow to me. Now arise, get out of this land, and return to the land of your family.
Then Rachel and Leah answered,
Is there still any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and also completely consumed our money.
For all these riches which God has taken from our father are really ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do it.
Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels. And he carried away all his livestock and all his possessions which he had gained, his acquired livestock which he had gained in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away, unknown to Laban the Syrian, in that he did not tell him that.
What? And Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's? Why? And why were they worshiping idols? I thought that was the whole point in going to this area, because Isaac wanted a godly person for Rachel, unlike Esau, how Esau got somebody. What is this? 31:19. Household idols. So Laban's family was either polytheistic, believing in many gods, henotheistic, believing in Yahweh as one God above all other gods. For Joshua's recollection of the polytheism of Abraham's relatives, see Joshua 24:1-3. In this culture, possession of the household idols was the right of the principal heir. Rachel probably did not steal the idols in order to worship them, but to retain the rights of the principal heir for Jacob. Yeah, but that means she's putting importance to those idols and that tradition, which shouldn't be the case. Ultimately, the Lord's blessing on Jacob was more important for him than any rights derived from being Laban's principal heir. Did God get mad with Rachel bringing idols?
That he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river.
Wait, why did he flee? Why didn't he just go nicely? Rachel and Leah answered to him and said to him, "Is there still any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and also completely consumed our money. For all these riches which God has taken from our father are really ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do it." Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels, and he carried all his livestock and all his possessions which he had gained. His acquired livestock which he had gained in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away, unknown to Laban the Syrian, in that he did not tell them that he intended to flee. Okay. So he just stole away because he didn't tell him. And so he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead.
Toward the mountains of Gilead. And Laban was told on the third day that Jacob had fled. Then he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey. And he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But God had come to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said to him,
"Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad."
So Laban overtook Jacob.
Okay, I just want to say this. We are seeing that Jacob is nowhere near being perfect. Isaac is nowhere near being perfect. Abraham is nowhere near being perfect, right? These guys have messed up all over the place. Yet God is still with them, right? Like I was talking about before, like Abraham was messed up with Abimelech, right? But I guess God was still with Abimelech too, right? Abimelech is still God's child. He was king of his land. Laban had led a good life, gave away 2 of his daughters, but I guess he ended up in a not so good place. I mean, I guess he cheated Jacob. But then what about Esau? Let's see Esau. Ishmael is blessed with many descendants, right? Let's see what happens with Esau. Let's see. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Esau.
Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob,
What have you done, that you have stolen away unknown to me, and carried away my daughters like captives taken with the sword?
Right.
Why did you flee away secretly, and steal away from me and not tell me?
Right.
For I might have sent you away with joy and songs, with timbrel and harp, and you did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters.
Right.
Now you have done foolishly in so doing.
Right.
It is in my power to do you harm.
Yep.
But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. And now you have surely gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?
Because I was afraid, for I said, Perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force.
What is up with what is up with this entire family? Abraham being scared, telling people that he married a sister, which he did, but it's still his wife. Isaac saying the same thing. Now Jacob, still being scared.
You find your gods, do not let him live. In the presence of our
steal my gods.
Because I was afraid, for I said, Perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force. With whom
they overthink. This whole family overthinks. They have insecurity. That's crazy, right? These huge legends of the Bible overthink and are insecure. So don't feel bad about yourself, man. Look, you're probably better off than Abraham, and Jacob and Isaac. They had flaws. So don't feel like you need to be perfect. Just do your best. That's what I'm trying to take away from this.
With whomever you find your gods, do not let him live. In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours.
With whomever you find your gods, do not let him live. So then why'd you take the gods?
And take it with you.
In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours and take it with you. Wait, what?
In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours and take it with you.
For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so he's telling that to Laban, like, you kill whoever took your gods. I don't even know someone took your gods.
And Laban went into Jacob's tent, into Leah's tent, and into the two maids' tents. But he did not find them. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols, put them in the camel's saddle, and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father,
Let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of women is with me.
And he searched, but did not find the household.
She literally said, I'm on my period. I can't get up, as an excuse so that she doesn't have to get up and so that they won't find the idols. Come on.
Idols. Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban.
What is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued me? Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren, that they may judge between us both. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your flock. That which was torn by beasts I did not bring to you, I bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There
That which was torn by beasts I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it.
I was. In the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been in your house 20.
Let me read that. Jacob never charged Laban for any loss, so that he could never charge Jacob for mismanagement. Furthermore, Jacob described the seasonal extremes that he suffered. Okay.
Years. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night.
These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock. All that you see is mine. What can I do this day to these my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne? Now therefore come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me.
So Jacob
Sort of worried
took
for
a
Laban
stone
because God said don't talk to Jacob, good or bad.
and set it up as a pillar. Then Jacob said to his brethren,
Gather stones.
and they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. Laban called it Jegar-sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead.
This heap is a witness between you and me this day.
Therefore its name was called Gilead, also Mizpah, because he said,
May the Lord watch between you and me, when we are absent one from another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is
Too
with
late.
us,
Too late.
see, God is witness between you and me. Here is this heap, and here is this pillar, which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not pass beyond this heap to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of their father judge between us.
and Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. And early in the morning Laban arose, and kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban departed, and returned to his place.
At least I didn't end badly. All right. That is the end of chapter 31. So that's going to be it for today. We got to 31. Tomorrow we're going to jump into 32. I still got to upload that Abraham video, I promise you guys. But check out the Ishmael one. That was really good. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about the characters of, the character of Jacob, like his character. You know, Jacob, Isaac, Abraham. They all are very similar, and they all have flaws. So let me know what you guys think, and if you guys have an explanation for the rods, let me know down below also, because I'm curious. I'm sure there's many explanations for that. I'll link you the ones that we looked at during this live stream. So yeah, that'll be it for today. Tomorrow we're gonna jump into 32, and I will see you guys then. Take care. Goodbye.